KTM just fired back. 2026 KTM 890 is an adventure monster. KTM just fired back. 2026 KTM 890 is an adventure monster isn't just a bold title, it's a warning to the entire ADV world. KTM didn't respond quietly this time. They answered with aggression, precision, and a motorcycle that looks ready to erase the line between trail weapon and long-distance explorer. The 2026 KTM 890 arrives with an attitude that's impossible to ignore. Sharp lines, rally-inspired bodywork, and a stance that screams competition make it clear this bike was built with one goal in mind: domination. This isn't an adventure bike that wants approval. It demands respect. Twist the throttle, and the story gets even wilder. The refined parallel twin engine delivers explosive power exactly where adventure riders want it. Whether blasting out of corners, climbing loose terrain, or cruising at highway speed, the 890 responds instantly, making every ride feel intense and alive. Where this machine truly shocks is its balance. KTM somehow engineered a bike that feels brutally capable off-road while remaining stable and confident on pavement. It's light where it matters, planted when it counts, and always ready to attack the next section of trail. The suspension setup proves KTM is still obsessed with performance. Long travel, precise damping, and trail-focused tuning let the 2026 KTM 890 absorb rocks, ruts, and punishment without losing composure. This is the kind of suspension that invites you to ride harder, not safer. Electronics on the new 890 are there to enhance chaos, not control it. Rider modes, traction management, and ABS settings work in the background, giving you the freedom to push limits while keeping everything just barely under control. It feels raw, but smart. Comfort hasn't been sacrificed for aggression. The ergonomics are clearly designed for riders who stand, sit, and move constantly. Long-distance capability is baked in, meaning this bike can cross countries during the week and destroy trails on the weekend. The 2026 KTM 890 doesn't try to be the biggest or most luxurious adventure bike, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. It focuses on performance, control, and real-world capability, making heavier, overcomplicated machines feel unnecessary. Suzuki just fired back. The 2026 V-Strom 650 XT is an adventure monster. The 2026 Suzuki V-Strom 650 XT Adventure is not just another adventure bike, it's a wake-up call to the entire ADV world. Suzuki didn't redesign this machine to follow trends, they built it to dominate real roads, real trails, and real adventures. If you think middleweight ADV bikes are boring, this one is about to prove you wrong in a big way. From the first glance, the 2026 V-Strom 650 XT Adventure looks ready to cross continents without asking permission. The beak-style front, wire-spoke wheels, skid plate, and tall stance scream purpose. This bike doesn't pose for Instagram, it's built to keep moving long after the pavement disappears. At the heart of this machine sits Suzuki's legendary 645cc V-twin, refined to deliver smooth, predictable power that works everywhere. On highways it cruises effortlessly, on twisty roads it feels playful, and on dirt trails it stays controllable. This engine has earned its reputation the hard way, by surviving hundreds of thousands of adventure miles. What really shocks riders is how balanced the V-Strom 650 XT feels. It's not intimidating, not twitchy, and not exhausting. Suzuki somehow nailed the sweet spot between comfort and control, making this bike equally friendly to beginners and deeply satisfying for seasoned adventure riders. The suspension setup on the 2026 model is tuned for real-world adventure, not spec sheet bragging rights. It absorbs broken pavement, gravel roads, and light off-road terrain with confidence, keeping the ride composed even when the road quality disappears completely. One of the biggest surprises is how comfortable this bike is over long distances. The upright riding position, wide handlebars, and well-shaped seat turn hours into easy miles. This is the kind of motorcycle that makes you forget about time and focus on the horizon. Suzuki didn't overload the V-Strom with unnecessary electronics, but what's here actually matters. Traction control, ABS, and rider focus systems work quietly in the background, helping you stay upright without ever stealing the joy of riding. Off-road. The XT Adventure package truly earns its name. The spoked wheels, engine protection, and adventure-ready ergonomics give riders the confidence to explore dirt roads, forest trails, and remote routes without second-guessing every obstacle. On pavement, the V-Strom transforms into a surprisingly capable sport tourer. Lean it into corners, and it responds with stability and confidence that many larger adventure bikes struggle to match. It feels light, predictable, and planted, exactly what riders want. If you thought Honda was done shocking the motorcycle world for 2026, think again, because what they just unveiled might be the wildest, most unpredictable machine of the entire year. The 2026 Honda XADV 750 Special Edition has exploded onto the scene, and riders everywhere are asking the same question. What on earth is Honda cooking? This isn't just another scooter. This isn't just another adventure bike. This is something in between, something beyond, and the Special Edition takes that madness to a whole new level. If you're not sitting down, you might want to. Because the moment this Special Edition XADV rolled onto the stage, jaws hit the floor. The paint scheme alone looks like it was designed by a sci-fi concept artist on energy drinks, but it's what's hiding beneath the bodywork that's really sending shockwaves across the industry. Honda didn't just tweak the XADV, they injected it with the attitude of a street fighter, the brains of a touring bike, and the swagger of a limited edition collectible. It's the kind of machine that makes you ask, is this legal? Can a bike this weird actually be this good? Let's start with the engine, because Honda didn't just polish the 750cc parallel twin. They sharpened it. They refined it. They tuned it to deliver smoother torque, quicker throttle response, and an even more aggressive mid-range punch. The DCT has been recalibrated to shift with frightening accuracy, almost predicting the rider's next move. Whether you're slicing through traffic, ripping down a fire road, or launching from a stoplight, the Special Edition responds with a level of confidence that borders on cocky. But the real magic kicks in when you realize this isn't some fragile, pretty boy limited edition. Honda gave this thing the off-road hardware to back up the looks. Improved suspension tuning, refined traction control algorithms, and a chassis setup that feels tougher, tighter, and more planted than any previous XADV. This Special Edition doesn't just flirt with the ADV category. It crash lands directly into it and demands respect. Dirt, gravel, potholes, it laughs at all of them. And yet, in the middle of all this rugged capability, Honda somehow made the 2026 XADV 750 Special Edition even more luxurious. The seat has been redesigned for long-range comfort. The windscreen is now more adjustable and more aerodynamic. The cockpit feels like something ripped straight from a premium car, with new interface tweaks, crisp visuals, and smarter connectivity options. It's half tactical weapon, half rolling tech lounge, and the blend is intoxicating. But here's the real plot twist. Honda gave the Special Edition exclusive features that you cannot get on the standard model. We're talking upgraded materials, unique styling elements, special lighting accents, and one of the most aggressive body kits the XADV lineup has ever seen. This isn't a motorcycle, it's a flex, a statement, a machine that almost seems to tell the world, yeah, I'm special, try to keep up. If you think the adventure bike world has already peaked, think again, because Honda just dropped a machine that's sending shockwaves through the ADV community. The 2026 Honda XL 750 Transalp isn't just back, it's back with a vengeance. Riders everywhere are calling this Honda's boldest middleweight adventure move in years, and once you hear what they've done, you'll understand why. This isn't a polite refresh or a nostalgia cash grab, this is Honda planting its flag and reminding everyone exactly why the Transalp name still carries serious weight. At first glance, the 2026 Transalp looks familiar, but don't let that fool you. Underneath that rugged exterior is a motorcycle that's been sharpened, refined, and tuned with almost surgical precision. Honda has taken real-world rider feedback and turned it into meaningful upgrades that instantly separate this bike from the rest of the crowded ADV field. From the way it responds off idle to how it behaves on broken pavement and loose terrain, the Transalp feels purpose-built, not over-designed, not watered down, just brutally effective. The heart of this machine is where things start getting exciting. The 755cc parallel twin engine has been reworked to deliver smoother power, stronger mid-range torque, and more usable performance where adventure riders actually live. Twist the throttle and the Transalp doesn't scream. It pulls. It's the kind of power delivery that makes technical trails less intimidating and long highway stretches less exhausting. Honda didn't chase peak horsepower numbers here. They chased control, balance, and confidence, and it shows the moment the bike starts moving. But here's where the 2026 Transalp really starts flexing. The electronics package. Honda has quietly transformed this bike into a tech powerhouse without turning it into a rolling computer lab. Updated ride modes, refined traction control, smarter ABS behavior, and a more intuitive interface work together seamlessly, almost invisibly. The bike adapts to you, not the other way around. Whether you're carving twisty mountain roads, blasting down gravel, or crawling through rough terrain, the Transalp feels like it's always one step ahead. And let's talk suspension, because Honda clearly wasn't playing around. The revised suspension setup delivers better compliance off-road while staying planted and predictable on pavement. Hits feel softer, feedback feels clearer, and control feels dramatically improved. This is the kind of setup that encourages you to ride harder, explore further, and push boundaries you might normally avoid. The 2026 Transalp doesn't just tolerate bad terrain, it invites it. Comfort is another area where Honda quietly leveled up. The ergonomics have been fine-tuned to reduce fatigue during long rides, while still allowing aggressive body positioning when the terrain gets rough. The seat, wind protection, and riding triangle work together to create a bike that feels equally at home on a 500-mile day or a full day off-road. It's not luxury. This is functional comfort designed for riders who actually use their adventure bikes the way they're meant to be used. If you thought Honda was done shaking up the middleweight naked bike world, think again, because the 2026 CB750 Hornet has just dropped, and it's sending shockwaves through the entire industry. This isn't just another yearly refresh or a mild spec tweak. Honda came back swinging, and riders everywhere are realizing something terrifying. The Hornet has evolved into a full-blown street weapon. Lightweight, aggressive, brutally efficient, and sharper than ever, the 2026 CB750 Hornet feels less like a commuter bike and more like Honda's warning shot to every naked sport bike on the market. From the moment you see it, the Hornet looks angrier, tighter, and more purposeful. Honda didn't soften this bike, they sharpened it. The styling screams aggression, with razor-cut bodywork, a predatory stance, and a front end that looks ready to attack traffic lights. Everything about the design says speed, control, and intent. This isn't a bike begging for attention, it demands it. And once you throw a leg over it, you realize Honda wasn't building a friendly naked bike anymore. They were building a problem. Then there's the engine, and this is where things get serious. The parallel twin power plant in the 2026 CB750 Hornet hits harder, pulls cleaner, and feels more alive than ever before. Throttle response is razor sharp, torque comes on instantly, and the bike surges forward with a level of urgency that feels borderline illegal for the class. This isn't just fast, it's addictively fast. Honda tuned this engine to make every gear feel explosive, every corner exit thrilling, and every twist of the throttle a reminder that this bike means business. But here's what's really blowing riders away. Honda didn't just add power, they reworked how the bike thinks. The electronics package is smarter, faster, and more aggressive than anyone expected. Traction control, ride modes, and throttle mapping now work together so seamlessly that the bike feels like an extension of your body. It adapts instantly, whether you're carving back roads, slicing through traffic, or pushing hard on a twisty stretch of asphalt. The Hornet doesn't just respond, it reacts. Handling is where the 2026 Hornet really starts embarrassing the competition. The chassis feels lighter, tighter, and more planted, especially when you start riding it the way Honda clearly intended. Turn-in is immediate, mid-corner stability is rock solid, and the bike holds a line with surgical precision. This thing feels like it lost weight without losing muscle. Honda somehow managed to make it easier to ride and more aggressive at the same time, and that's not something most manufacturers pull off. And let's talk suspension, because Honda quietly turned the dial way up. The 2026 CB750 Hornet absorbs rough pavement without losing composure, but stiffens up exactly when you start pushing harder. It's forgiving when you want comfort and brutally capable when you want speed. Whether you're dodging potholes or attacking corners, the bike stays calm, controlled, and confidence-inspiring. Riders are already saying it feels more like a lightweight street fighter than a midweight naked, and that's a huge deal. You think you've seen classic motorcycles before? Think again, because Triumph just dropped a version of the Bonneville T100 that's rewriting the rules of retro cool for 2026. This isn't just another colorway or a mild refresh. No. Triumph took one of the most iconic bikes ever built and turned it into a special edition masterpiece that's already making riders lose their minds around the world. The 2026 Bonneville T100 Special Edition is here, and trust me, you're going to want to see every detail of this beauty up close. Right from the first glance, this special edition doesn't whisper heritage, it shouts it. With hand-finished paint schemes that make traditional retro styling look downright tame, this bike looks like it was pulled straight from a British motorcycle dream. Every line, every curve, and every millimeter of chrome screams classic elegance, but with a modern twist that only Triumph could pull off. This is the kind of machine that stops traffic and turns heads without even trying. Underneath all that jaw-dropping style sits the heart of what makes the Bonneville legend legendary. A responsive 900cc parallel twin engine that pumps out around 64 horsepower and 59 pound-feet of torque with that unmistakable 270-degree firing order that gives this bike its addictive rhythm. It's smooth, it's punchy, it's retro character with modern performance, and it delivers a ride that feels effortless no matter where you twist the throttle. But here's where it gets really interesting. Don't let the classic looks fool you. The 2026 Special Edition is packed with technology that riders didn't even know they wanted. Lean-sensitive cornering ABS and traction control powered by a high-performance IMU works seamlessly behind the scenes, giving you confidence and safety without spoiling the pure riding experience. It's tech that enhances without interfering, the best kind there is. And just when you think all those upgrades are enough, Triumph adds features that make long rides feel even more luxurious than ever. Imagine cruising with cruise control on a classic-styled motorcycle, something you'd normally only expect on a big touring bike, not a retro roadster. USB-C charging and full LED lighting with signature British style bring this classic into the 21st century while keeping its soul intact. The riding position on the T100 has always been one of its biggest charms, relaxed, natural, and confidence-inspiring. But for 2026, Triumph has further refined every inch of this bike to make it even more accessible and enjoyable. Comfortable handling, manageable seat height, and that smooth torque delivery make it perfect for new riders and seasoned enthusiasts alike. It's a bike that pulls you in and refuses to let go. The adventure motorcycle world is officially on edge because BMW just dropped something that could completely flip the middleweight ADV segment upside down. The 2026 BMW F 450 GS isn't just another beginner-friendly adventure bike like everyone expected. No, this thing feels like a calculated strike straight at the heart of the market. Lightweight, aggressive, and unmistakably GS, the F 450 GS looks less like a compromise and more like BMW quietly saying, "This is the future, deal with it." And riders everywhere are starting to realize this bike might be way more dangerous than it looks. At first glance, the F 450 GS screams Dakar DNA. The tall stance, Sharp bodywork and unmistakable GS front end make it look like a baby rally bike that escaped straight from BMW's race department. But don't let the smaller displacement fool you. This machine looks ready to pick fights with bikes way above its weight class. BMW didn't design this to feel cheap, soft, or watered down. They designed it to feel serious, purpose-built, almost intimidating for a so-called entry-level adventure bike. Now let's talk about what has everyone buzzing: the engine. BMW's new 450cc parallel twin is expected to deliver a punchy, high-revving personality with real-world torque where it actually matters. This isn't about massive top speed. It's about control, traction, and confidence on loose terrain. Early whispers suggest BMW tuned this engine to feel lively and aggressive, not tame and boring. Combine that with a lighter overall weight, and suddenly the F450 GS starts looking like one of the most fun adventure bikes BMW has ever built. But here's where things get really interesting. BMW didn't cheap out on the tech. This is not a bare-bones ADV bike. We're talking ride modes, traction control, cornering ABS, and advanced electronics tuned specifically for off-road riding. That means real confidence for new riders and serious capability for experienced ones. BMW basically looked at the competition and said, why not give them premium tech too? And that decision alone could completely change expectations in this class. Off-road riders are paying close attention for one reason: weight. And BMW knows it. The 2026 F450 GS is expected to come in significantly lighter than its bigger GS siblings, making it easier to handle in sand, mud, and tight trails. That's huge. This is the kind of bike you can actually pick up after a drop, without questioning your life choices. For riders who love adventure riding but hate wrestling-heavy machines, the F450 GS might be the answer they've been waiting for. And yet, BMW didn't forget about the street. The suspension is rumored to strike that perfect balance between trail toughness and highway comfort. Upright ergonomics, a comfortable seat height, and excellent wind protection mean this bike isn't just for dirt. It's built for real-world adventure, commuting during the week, exploring backroads on the weekend, disappearing into the wilderness when life gets loud. This bike doesn't lock you into one role. It invites you to do everything. The 2026 Can-Am Ryker Sport is not just another update. It's a statement that the future of three-wheel performance has officially arrived. From the first glance, this machine looks like it escaped from a concept lab and rolled straight onto the street. Aggressive, low-slung, and unapologetically bold, the Ryker Sport challenges everything you think you know about motorcycles, trikes, and power sports. This is not built to blend in. It is engineered to dominate attention, ignite adrenaline, and redefine what sport riding means in 2026. What makes the 2026 Ryker Sport so dangerous to the competition is how it combines raw performance with plug-and-play accessibility. No clutch, no shifting stress. Just twist the throttle and unleash instant torque that hits hard and fast. Whether you are a seasoned rider or someone stepping into the powersports world for the first time, the Ryker Sport delivers confidence without sacrificing excitement. This machine feels alive, reactive, and hungry for the road. Under the skin, the 2026 Can-Am Ryker Sport refines its Rotax power plant to deliver sharper throttle response and smoother power delivery across the rev range. Acceleration feels aggressive but controlled, giving riders the sensation of launching out of corners like a street-legal missile. Every pull of the throttle reminds you that this is not a toy. It is a precision-tuned performance vehicle built for riders who crave speed with stability. Handling is where the Ryker Sport truly separates itself from anything else on the road. The low center of gravity, wide front stance, and intelligent stability systems allow you to attack corners with confidence that traditional two-wheel machines simply cannot match. The 2026 model feels more planted, more predictable, and more eager to be pushed. You don't just ride it, you carve asphalt with it. Visually, The 2026 Riker Sport looks sharper, meaner, and more futuristic than ever. The bodywork screams performance. The exposed mechanical elements feel intentional and aggressive, and the overall stance radiates speed even when parked. This is the kind of machine that makes people stop mid-sentence at traffic lights just to stare. It does not ask for attention, it takes it. Technology plays a massive role in making the Riker Sport feel like a machine from the future. Advanced traction control, stability systems, and ride-by-wire throttle mapping work together to keep the experience thrilling but controlled. The rider interface is clean, intuitive, and focused on performance. Everything you see and touch feels purposeful, reinforcing the idea that this machine was built by engineers who understand riders. The 2026 Royal Enfield Meteor 350 is not just another update, it's a shockwave sent straight through the cruiser world. From the moment this bike rolls into view, it screams evolution, rebellion, and classic soul reborn. Royal Enfield didn't simply refresh the Meteor 350, they reimagined what an affordable modern cruiser should feel like in 2026. This is the bike that could quietly dethrone expectations without shouting, yet somehow still steal every spotlight on the road. At first glance, the 2026 Meteor 350 looks familiar, but look closer and everything changes. The sculpted fuel tank is sharper, more muscular, and unmistakably premium. The new color schemes aren't just paint jobs, they're statements of identity. Chrome meets matte, retro meets futuristic, and suddenly the Meteor looks like a bike twice its price. This is Royal Enfield, proving they've mastered the art of timeless design in a modern era. Same engine, but it feels completely different. Yes, it's still the trusted 349cc single-cylinder engine, but don't let that fool you. For 2026, the Meteor 350 feels smoother, more refined, and eerily more responsive. Throttle inputs feel tighter, vibrations feel calmer, and cruising at highway speeds feels more confident than ever before. It's not about raw power, it's about effortless riding, and this engine delivers that magic better than ever. The tech upgrade riders were begging for. Royal Enfield listened. The 2026 Meteor 350 steps up with smarter instrumentation, improved tripper navigation integration, and a cockpit that finally feels truly modern. Everything is easier to read, easier to use, and more intuitive, whether you're riding through city chaos or chasing sunsets on an open highway. This is old-school charm, backed by new-school brains. Comfort is where the Meteor 350 quietly destroys the competition. The low seat height, perfectly placed foot pegs, and relaxed handlebar position make hours disappear on the road. For 2026, seat cushioning and suspension tuning feel noticeably improved, soaking up bumps without killing feedback. Once you ride it, you'll understand why Meteor owners keep finding excuses to just go for another ride. In a world of oversized, overpriced cruisers, the 2026 Meteor 350 delivers pure cruiser soul without intimidation. It's approachable, friendly, and confidence-boosting, perfect for beginners, yet satisfying enough for experienced riders. This bike doesn't demand respect. It earns it quietly, mile after mile. This is not just another scooter reveal. The 2026 Lambretta X300 arrives at a moment when most people thought the scooter world had already shown everything it had. What you are about to see challenges that belief completely. From the first glance, this machine sends a clear message. Lambretta is no longer playing it safe. This is a bold statement aimed directly at riders who want performance, identity, and presence in one package. The moment the Lambretta X300 starts moving, everything changes. This scooter does not behave like what people traditionally expect from a 300cc class. Acceleration feels immediate, confident, and surprisingly aggressive. It delivers a riding experience that blurs the line between scooter and sport-oriented motorcycle, raising serious questions about where this segment is heading next. Under the bodywork lies a powertrain that feels carefully engineered for riders who demand more than basic commuting. The throttle response is sharp, The power delivery feels refined, and the overall character suggests Lambretta had a very specific audience in mind. This is built for riders who want to feel connected to the road, not just transported from point A to point B. Design plays a massive role in why the 2026 X300 stands out so dramatically. Lambretta's heritage is still visible, but it has been reinterpreted with modern, aggressive lines that feel relevant in today's performance-focused market. Every detail appears intentional, from the lighting elements to the stance, creating a scooter that looks fast even when standing still. Riding dynamics are where the X300 truly begins to separate itself from the competition. In urban traffic, it feels controlled and composed. On open roads, it becomes stable and confident. When pushed through corners, it delivers feedback that many riders would never expect from a scooter. This balance between comfort and control is one of its most surprising achievements. What makes this release even more interesting are the features and design decisions that Lambretta has not openly highlighted. Some elements suggest future-ready thinking, while others hint at a shift in brand philosophy. These details have already sparked debate among enthusiasts, and once you notice them, you cannot unsee their significance. The pricing conversation around the 2026 Lambretta X300 is already intense. Some will call it ambitious, others will call it justified. When you break down what this scooter offers in terms of performance, design, and brand positioning, the discussion becomes far more complex than expected. This is not about affordability alone, but about value and identity. When placed next to rival scooters and even small displacement motorcycles, the X300 creates an uncomfortable comparison for its competitors. It accelerates harder than many expect, carries itself with authority, and delivers a riding presence that demands attention. Traffic lights, highways, and city streets all become stages for this machine to perform. This video dives deep into the experience, the details, and the real-world impressions that photos and spec sheets simply cannot capture. Every angle, every ride moment, and every reaction tells part of the story of why the 2026 Lambretta X300 feels like a turning point rather than a routine update. Watch closely until the end, because what this scooter represents could change how riders view the entire premium scooter category. Whether you are a longtime Lambretta fan or someone who never considered scooters before, this might be the release that forces you to look again.